So we're at the point where we know that the user did enter valid credentials. Now we want to use that information to generate such a JSON web token, which I showed you on the slides. For that, let's quit the server here, the Node server, and let's install a new package. The package I want to use is called JSON web token, one word. This is a package which allows us to conveniently create such new JSON web tokens. We can now restart the server, and we need to import this into this file. So here, I'll import it, store it in a constant named JWT. The name is of course up to you. The JSON web token package, or the object it exposes. Now down there, after checking the password, I want to generate a new token. I'll store the token in a constant name token. And then here I'll use the JWT package, and there the sign method. This creates a new signature and packs that into a new JSON web token. We can add any data we want into the token. Like for example, we could store the user email, so access the loaded user email, and the user ID, access the loaded user underscore ID. And since it's a MongoDB object ID here, let's convert that to a string. So now I'm storing some user data in the token. Of course, you should not store the raw password in here because that would be returned to the front end, to the user to whom the password belongs, but still not ideal. Email and user ID should be fine, however. And then you need to pass a second argument, which is that secret, so that private key, which is used for signing. And that is now only known to the server, and therefore you can't fake that token on the client. I'll enter secret here. Typically, you want to use a longer string, like some super secret, or even longer. Also check out the official docs of the JSON web token and to learn more about it. I'll also set a third argument where I configure this, and there I'll set an expiry time of 1 hour with this syntax, so that the token becomes invalid after 1 hour. Now, this is a security mechanism you should add, because the token is stored in the client. Now, of course, by the client to whom it belongs. But technically, that token could be stolen. If the user does not log out, another person copies the token from his browser storage and then can use it on his own PC forever. Well, not forever now at least, because after 1 hour, the token becomes invalid. So this is a good security mechanism, which is like a nice, finds a nice balance between usability, where you would want infinite sessions, and security, where you would want to limit this to like 1 second. Now, this is a nice in-between solution, which is pretty common. So now we have a token which we can return to the client. So here indeed, I will now return a response with status code 200, where I add some data. We can add a message if we want, but I will only add that token which I generated and a user ID. And that is my loaded user dot underscore ID to string. Now that data needs to be provided because in the React app I gave you, I'll be looking for that ID and I'll be storing it. By the way, it should also take 1 hour because in that React app, I'll log you out after 1 hour. And all that storing and so on will be done by the frontend. Now I'll show you how it gets stored in a second, of course. So let's now go back to our auth route and connect our login route to our auth controller, and there the login action. And now with that, let's go back to the front end and work on the code there as well. So in the front end, here in the app.js file where we have the sign up handler, we have to look for the login handler here, and we should fix the URL there too. The URL is localhost 8080/auth/login. We need to pass an object where we now also change the request method to post and where we pass our data. So just as with signing up, we can actually copy that logic from there, the headers and the body, copy that and move it to login. We don't pass the name in the body though, but password and email will be passed. Now there's another small adjustment required. Here, you can actually directly access auth data email and auth data password. Now, if that's saved, go back to your React app and try logging in with the credentials you created a couple of lectures ago. It should work. This error still is coming from the status, which we'll fix soon. And here, we also see that I'm logging something. We see that token that was generated and the user ID. In your Chrome browser DevTools, you can also go to the Application tab, and there go to Local Storage, select your domain, and you will see that token here. That is the token we generated on the server. The other data is data I'm storing here, or that was stored way back by other applications. So we don't need that. That has nothing to do with our app. We have the expiry date, which I generate on the client to know when I should remove the token because it expired. And this is the token itself. Now you can also take that token and visit JWT.io. There you can learn more about JSON web tokens first of all. And you can also paste your token into that area on the left. And this allows you to look into your token. You don't see your secret, but you can now validate it. If you enter your secret, which you chose on the server, some super secret, then you should end up with the same token you copied in. And indeed, if I replace it, it does not change. And here you also see that payload data you added on your server side. You could theoretically extract that on the client too, and that is why you should not store super sensitive data in there. But this now also shows you that if I try to generate this token on my own, let's say I also edit it, like change the email address, the token changes on the left, and therefore if I edit this, it will not be validated, because now the token is not the same as it was when it was generated on the server with this secret. So if I try to generate my own one with a different secret, I'll end up with a different token. And if I try to edit the data in there, I also do. So I can't mess around with the token in the client. The server will detect this. This is how we can log in and how we work with tokens to know whether we are logged in. We're missing one important piece of information though. We have the token. Now we also need to attach the token to requests that require authentication. Because right now, well, I am logged in. I only see these options after logging in, but theoretically, deleting, editing, and so on does not really care about the token. We should change this. We should also connect new posts to our user, and we should make sure that only users who created a post can edit or delete it. So still some work to do.